And here with me to discuss this is African Affairs analyst James Wood. James, thank you very much. James Wood, thank you for coming in. This is somewhat of a PR nightmare, isn't it, for the president?
Absolutely. I think for those of us who hold values of good governance and accountability with transparency, when you have a PR machinery that fails to relay where the head of state is, causes a lot of chaos within the country, because a head of state is put in a democratic nation, head of state is elected into office. So by being elected, they have to be accountable to those constituents. So having gone to the UN, the nation understood that this is official duties. But to have gone for an extra 2 weeks where nobody knew of his whereabouts caused a bit of a flux, as you've already mentioned. But now, the part of the PR job, when you have your press secretaries, your PR team, they're the ones who are supposed to relay why the head of state is extending his stay in the US. Is it a holiday? Is he seeking medical treatment? Are they meetings for investors? When this isn't relayed, this creates rumors, and the rumor mill eventually becomes a truth if you're not telling people what's happening.
Well, so if there's a vacuum of information, people tend to fill it with anything they can. But the interesting thing here is that this president should have known better because of what happened to his brother and what happened when the people of Malawi were basically lied to.
Absolutely. I would be the first person to say that I have met the head of state before he was a president, and a very accountable individual. But I think with what has happened over here, you'd have expected him, as you've rightly said, to have addressed the nation of what is happening, what is going on. He held a press conference when he returned to Malawi, mentioning that he was attending some investor meetings, and saying that he cannot explain every single meeting to the individuals. But we live in a democratic country. We live in a country where the same head of state and the same government machinery promotes good governance accountability. So if they are promoting that, then why are we failing? Why did they fail to mention what is going on? And surely, as you said, he should have known this, bearing in mind what happened during his brother's term, that this would cause a big fuss within the country.
Yeah, not that long ago either. Not that long ago. There is an issue of trust, though, isn't there, across Africa with its leaders. We saw Robert Mugabe talking and saying, "I'm not dead." But there are all these rumour mills. And frankly, without being rude, they're quite elderly gentlemen that have these higher positions, aren't they?
Yes. Well, just going to the question of trust, we've seen the same situation happen just to our neighbour, Zambia, where two of their heads of state, Manawasa and Michael Sata, passed away whilst in office. And these individuals had mentioned, talking about Sata, he missed his 50th independence celebrations in Zambia, where he was supposed to speak, claiming it caused a big fuss in the country that he was ill. But he came out in parliament and said, "I'm actually full of health," just for a couple months later for him to pass away. Same story with Manawasa. So that is something that Malawi hold dearly to them as well, because that's just our neighbours. We had the situation with Bingu Mutarika, where he passed away. It was only announced the country 2 days later. So trust is of the essence. But beyond that, talking about the age aspect, yes, our head of state is 76 years old. I was looking at some statistics of Malawi earlier today, where population under 15, that's about 45% of the population in Malawi.
Wow.
From 15 to 24, we're looking at about 20% of the population. 25 to 54, that's 27%. So it's still a very youthful nation. So we have that vacuum of majority of the population is considered youth. The African Union terms youth anybody under the age of 45. And our head of state is 76. I'm not saying that if you're the more senior you can't rule, but that vacuum that you have a difference in opinions, where some are still molded by their colonial mindset, still molded by an old way of thinking.
Which might explain some of Africa's brain drain that's going on at the moment. Just very quickly, I do want to say to you that President Mutarika, he also made another faux pas, didn't he, when he was talking about the fact, well, first of all, he won't show his expenses to say what he's been doing, saying I can't account for every minute. But he also said, if I was sick, I'd have stayed in America.
Well, on those 2 points you've raised, number one, as the head of state, he's out of the country. I think as a nation, we need to know where the taxpayers' money has gone to. We've had situations like this in and around Africa. Paul Biya, for example, took holiday in France at a cost of $40,000 a day. That was in 2009. We look at it right now, we need to know what money has been spent on this trip. We need to know whether it went for business as usual or not. So that needs to be accounted for. Beyond that, by saying that if I was ill, I would have stayed in the United States of America. There's two ways of looking at that. You can look at it that there's better treatment in America. That's the first way you look at it. But the main way, the second way, is that actually within our medical facilities in Malawi, we're failing. If a head of state does not value what our own medical facilities, that is worrying for the nation. He should be the main person saying that I am going to use this hospital because I've improved this sector.
And, of course, there's a power vacuum as well, which is which is something for another day, because there's going to be some fighting on that. James Woods, it has been a real pleasure. Thank you very much indeed for updating us.